Hey, and welcome back everyone. Today I want to share with you my sexiest fragrances. Now obviously the word sexy implies something completely different for everyone. For me personally, sexy constitutes being completely and unapologetically confident in who you are as a person, with all your flaws and preferences, tastes, thoughts. It doesn't matter. You as a person accept yourself for who you are wholeheartedly. I was really thinking about what makes me feel sexy, and there are very different levels of sexiness if you ask me personally. There's like the nice, pretty, sexy, the confident, nice, pretty, sexy, and then there is the more seductive, darker, spicier sexy. And at the very end of the level, there is also the darkest side where it gets kinky and vulgar and quite specific, so to speak. And I therefore categorize the fragrances I'm going to show you today into these levels. So I hope that everyone is going to find at least one fragrance that they're going to identify themselves with most, or at least like a lot. So without further ado, I hope you guys are interested, and let's get started. I'm going to get started with the lightest version of sexiness, so to speak. Fragrances that I would categorize into being the pretty, gorgeous, sweet kind of sexy, so to speak. Very womanly and beautiful. The first one is by Kayali. This is Vanilla number 28. It smells straight up like a grown-up brown sugar vanilla concoction. It's not a linear vanilla scent by any means, at least when it dries down. I can definitely smell some warmth and depth to it. It's like the perfect mix between brown sugar, vanilla, musk, and white flowers in the background. So all in all, it smells a little bit creamy in the dry down. It has a great sillage and projection without being too offensive and overly sweet. It smells very womanly, beautiful, and at the same time warm and sexy. I get so many compliments when I wear this, especially by men. They notice this right away. But moving on to the bigger sister of Kayali, so to speak, she's still in the same realm of being a vanilla gourmand, but she's a little bit older, so she has experienced more in life, is seasoned, has some spice to her, knows more what she wants in life. I'm talking about Guerlain Spiritueuse double Vanille. This is the ultimate boozy vanilla gourmand. I feel like there is no better scent on the market to describe a perfect boozy vanilla. It is super high quality, makes me feel insanely confident, and automatically kind of even changes my posture when I wear it. It has something mysterious about it. It is a little bit spicy. It's not too sweet compared to Kayali Vanilla. I mean, it didn't surprise me at all that Guerlain has chosen Angelina Jolie to be the face of this fragrance, because she embodies all of it, like the ultimate beautiful, confident, intelligent woman that at the same time has a little bit of fragility to her. And Mon Guerlain by Guerlain definitely embodies every single aspect of it. I smell a strong lavender note in this that automatically brings me to this relaxed and serene mindset. I just feel okay with everything, yet at the same time it leaves me confident. It is utterly beautiful, elegant. It's, in my personal opinion, one of the best well-blended fragrances that I have ever smelled. A great job from Guerlain. But let's graduate to the deeper, heavier, darker, muskier scents. And the first fragrance that I unfortunately have to mention, I know it has been discontinued forever. It is such a well-made, sexy, warm, alluring blend I could not resist. And I'm talking about the hyped, the famous, the well-loved Jean-Paul Gaultier, Gaultier Squared. Composition-wise, it's one of the simplest fragrances that I have in my collection. It is a very simple composition containing amber, musk, and vanilla. That's all there is, but they're so uniquely blended together. I mean, a lot of perfumes have the same notes, but it's very much down to the concentration, the blend, how these ingredients interact with each other. This is the smoothest, warmest, velvetiest vanilla musk amber fragrance I have ever smelled. However, with this one, I cannot tell whether it is leaning more feminine or masculine. To me, it's right in the middle. So therefore, both men and women can wear this alike. And in fact, it was actually created to be worn by both sexes, hence why you have magnets on here. So basically 2 bottles could attach. I like to keep in the context of strictly unisex fragrances, and I'd like to show you a few more. I think I have about 4 or 5 of them. So the next one I want to talk about is one of my favorite iris-centered fragrances. It is so well made, like it has this warm, powdery, strong, deep, and utterly sexy appeal to it. I'm obviously talking about Dior Homme Parfum. I love the perfume version the most because it is thick, it is warm, it's much more unisex, I feel like. It doesn't have this fresh appeal that you would most likely expect from a male-oriented fragrance. This is unisex through and through. I see a beautiful man with a black suit and tie, great leather shoes, just overall very corporate looking, high-end, high quality, a go-getter personality wearing this perfume. It suits this type of men the most, I feel like. It's super elegant, classy, it is sexy, it is gorgeous, quite unisex. Definitely check it out if you are into lipsticky, powdery, deep, complex fragrances. Dior Homme. I don't know what it is about Tom Ford Creations in particular, but every time I try to describe one of his perfumes, I always have to think about complexity, high-end, richness, high-quality exclusivity, but just overall, him as a perfume creator, or who else creates his perfumes for him, he's just smart, very clever, and knows exactly what women would like to smell, what makes me, like me individually as a consumer, what makes me tick. The sexiest of his creations by far, which I'm going to declare today, but for me, hands down, the sexiest, smokiest, most alluring fragrance by the house of Tom Ford is Noir Pour Femme. It's a classic, relatively classic Floriental with a stronger, spicy, woody, smoky, boozy base to it. I can smell a little bit of brandy or whiskey even in this one. It has also some chai qualities like tea. A great concoction, really complex and deep, super sexy and alluring. I get a lot of compliments with this one too when I wear it. Tom Ford Noir Pour Femme. Next up is Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. I would render this fragrance as one of my staples. Smelling Tobacco Vanille is like smoking a pipe or cigarette with an old dear friend and just talking about everything and anything. Maybe sipping some sweet alcohol, like a Tennessee whiskey, a bourbon, anything strong like this. I love leather jackets. I wear them a ton. And Tobacco Vanille kind of emphasized this feeling of being like a rock chick. It is a stunning, sweet vanilla pipe tobacco with a powerful clove in the background, especially in the dry down. But overall, really smooth, not harsh at all, super sexy. Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. Straight after, I have to mention the last fragrance of the House of Tom Ford because it's yet another great staple, loved by many, highly recommend for everyone. It's a true unisex fragrance, and I'm obviously talking about Black Orchid. I got mine a couple of years back in TK Maxx for a really, really good price. I was super happy when I found it. And oh my god, this is such a great, dark, spicy, very complex, almost controversial type of fragrance. It's really daring and confident. Tom Ford Black Orchid, highly recommend it. Another discontinued one. Shame on me, but again, I'm a collector. I love discontinued, rare fragrances, and yeah. This one happens to be particularly sexy, and I had the pleasure of discovering it after a super nice girl on Instagram, Anne-Catherine, and her boyfriend Daniel have introduced me to this fragrance. She sent me a very generous sample of Ambre Eternel, and it took me completely by surprise how good it is, because by just reading up the notes, I would never suspect of liking a fragrance like this. It is quite aromatic and heavy in spices. These spices are submerged in a super animalic base of ambergris. I can definitely detect iris upon first spritzing the fragrance, although it is not officially mentioned in the notes. Lots of coriander, cinnamon. It's one of the most gorgeous oriental aromatic fragrances I have smelled in a very long time. This is Guerlain Ambre Eternel. Second to last is by Kayali, Back to Black. This was the first heavy honey fragrance, and actually the first fragrance altogether that started my obsession with authentic honey fragrances. It is polarizing, really memorable, really deep and complex. It's so very, very well blended. It's a definitive honey fragrance, hands down. This is the first whiff that I get. It's like warm, has some tobacco, vanilla notes. It is fine. Oh my god. It's really rounded and consistent. No nasty or surprising parts in this great fragrance. Super smooth, gorgeous, sexy, alluring. By Kayali, Back to Black. I guess I kept the most interesting and certainly most controversial fragrance for last, because you have to have an acquired taste to appreciate this type of fragrance. And it certainly, I feel like, says a lot about the person who wears this. And I only have the sample size here. I don't own it in full size, but I definitely would purchase it. And yeah, I'm talking about Absolue pour le Soir by Kurkdjian, one of my all-time favorite perfumers, by the way. Now, Absolue pour le Soir, let's not sugarcoat it, to me smells straight up like urine. Yet, it is composed of vanilla, amber, and woody notes. I've tried this fragrance on different occasions, certainly not day to day and not during the daytime to work, for instance. I would never wear this to the office, would never recommend it. I strongly feel like you have to give this fragrance time to develop into a beautiful, warm, ambery, vanilla, yet still quite animalic fragrance on the skin, because with the heat of the skin, it starts to evolve into a just very beautiful skin-like animalic fragrance. I feel like the essence of this perfume and why it was created is to be an aphrodisiac in the purest and most natural, authentic ways possible. You have to give it a try to see whether you like it or not, but it's very intricate and interesting, and if you're open to that, Absolue pour le Soir by Kurkdjian is definitely for you. And this wraps up this super long video. I hope you guys found it informative and helpful in terms of considering purchasing a fragrance, getting a second opinion. or not. I would love to know in the comments down below what constitutes sexiness for you personally, and what perfume is the sexiest of all time for you. Leave it down below. I wish you guys a beautiful evening. Stay healthy, and see you soon.